I don't like restaurants, guys. I'd rather eat Cheetos like I'm Vera. I'm not spooky, but I scare her. Yeah, your girl with her mascara. But we got Max versus Charles too. This is like a 5-course meal review. So I guess I do like Olive Garden by the way I'm in my olive era. Yeah, baby, yeah. Hey, let's go, baby. We're in our olive era, guys. Yeah, thank you. Guys, I think we're in our olive era. I'm in the Oliveira era, guys, because I really like this matchup for Charles. If you guys didn't know, they just announced Max Holloway versus Oliveira 2 at the seasonal press conference. First of all, this press conference is actually pretty good. I'm going to talk about it a little bit because I think Paddy said some stupid things in the presser, but I feel like the main attraction to the presser, the main takeaway is Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira 2. Now, of course, we know how the first fight went, It was back in Charles quitting era, but this is a different Charles era. You know what I'm saying? And Max Holloway might be I can't say the best because like Ilya exists, but like the way Max Holloway looked against Justin Gaethje, I feel like it transcends just your typical lightweight. So I really like this matchup for both guys because I feel like Max coming off a dominant performance, like Max coming off that dominant performance against Dustin Poirier even more recently, which I think he even held back in that fight, There's a conspiracy, that kind of goes in my head when I think about that fight. Dude, the first round, I'm telling you guys, watch it back. You'll see Max Holloway like hurt Dustin and kind of let him off the hook. And then after that, he never tried to save him again because the fight started getting competitive. He started to be like, okay, I can't be playing with this guy. But I'm telling you guys, if you watch back that first time he got him hurt, he like pulled back. And I feel like he kind of felt for Dustin, but there ain't going to be no pulling back against Charles because I feel like he understands the threat of Charles Oliveira. Now, Charles Oliveira, similar to Max Holloway, is coming off a performance that I feel like makes people realize, like, hold up a minute, because Charles just seems so much better than Gamrot, who's probably known as the best freestyle wrestler in the lightweight division before that fight. Dude, I know, man. I know. Like they kept talking about, and I was one of them, but the reason I picked Charles is because I did feel like Charles' overwhelming presence is going to be too much. Because something people sleep on is Charles Oliveira's pressure and striking on the feet. It's not that Charles can't strike, guys. I gotta preface something. Elite Topuria is a special type of striker. As in, Elite Topuria will counter you to an oblivion if you just walk forward like an imbecile. No offense to Charles, but that's kind of Charles' fight style. Charles is gonna walk forward like an imbecile. He's gonna trot forward, and it didn't work against Islam, who's a good counter striker. Obviously, it didn't work against Ilya, who's a good counter striker. Guys, I have something to tell you about Max Holloway's fight style. He's not necessarily known for yes, he has some counter punches, counter punch knockouts like the Justin Gaethje fight, but Max Holloway's not as sharp as Islam or Ilya. They're gonna come at me for the Islam. Guys, the way Max fights, I call it you hit me, but I'm gonna hit you more times with more volume and probably more speed. That will have a very hard time working against Charles Oliveira, who likes the heat. Max Holloway does have a newfound power at 155, I will say. The way he was dropping Dustin Poirier was looking like, damn, he's really putting Dustin down. And even Justin Gaethje, when Justin Gaethje would get hit by this guy clean, it looked bad. But I don't want to say he doesn't have one-punch power because I know he technically does because he did one-punch Justin Gaethje, who doesn't really get one-punched ever. But Charles Oliveira actually has good recovery outside of... Elite Topuria. Guys, Elite Topuria one punches, can one-punch anyone. Elite Topuria is a lot harder of a puncher. But the thing about Max is that he has a lot of people hurt, and Max does not give me the vibes of he's going to jump into the guard of Charles Oliveira, which is what I feel like people need to do. That kind of sounds stupid. Kenny, why would you jump on Charles if you have him hurt? Everyone who's done that, I feel like, not everyone who's done that, but the people who've done that usually have some kind of grappling degree with them, like Islam Makhachev, for example. The thing is, I could see Max even having moments against Charles, but there's no way, and this is a 5-round fight. This is going to be one of my more confident picks, I feel like, guys. I just feel as if over time, if you can't get Charles out, he's just going to keep coming forward. And what he does a really good job out in his striking is that he pushes you back so much with the striking that he's keeping you have to be on your P's and Q's when you're striking with Charles, or he's going to slowly start to pick away at you. And he throws everything so heavy, the low kick, the hook. And then once you try to strike back, he's okay with just going into the body lock and forcing a scramble. The thing about Max Holloway, guys, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. Max Holloway has not went against a really good, people are going to say Brian Ortega, but a really good offensive grappler, as in someone who could shoot takedowns and score pretty efficiently, and someone who could also grapple. Brian Ortega's offensive wrestling is really shit, guys. I hope you guys know that. and he put it on Ortega like he should have. But the thing about Charles, like Charles' striking is not even comparable to Ortega, as well as the fact that I feel like Charles is a way better grappler, way more complete. He has a record for the most submissions in the UFC, as well as like a really good offensive wrestling threat. Charles Oliveira is going to be the hardest fight for Max Holloway, and Max Holloway won't be the hardest fight for Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira has been there with everyone at this point, you know. I think stylistically, this is a nightmare for Max Holloway. Like, we saw Max get taken down by Volk. Volk couldn't control him. We know that. We saw Ilya take him down. Ilya couldn't really control him, guys. I just think the Charles Oliveira, the version we're seeing right now, is a little bit different, especially the way he was controlling Gamrot. You just don't do that to Gamrot. Look at Gamrot versus Armin Sarukian, who's also an amazing wrestler, if you didn't know. Brother, do you read Armin Sarukian? You know, brother, he's special in the grappling, but he was getting out-scrambled for the most part against Gamrot, because Gamrot's really good at wrestling. But with this fight, what Charles' last fight showed me, I know it was a little bit short notice for Gamrot, but it shows me that even someone like Gamrot, who's been doing it his whole life, wasn't able to compete with Charles when Charles was fully ready. Now, I know Max is going to have a full camp, but I'm going to be real. A full camp Max wrestling is not even as good as a 1 hour notice wrestling of Gamrot, who's been doing it his whole life. My thing with Max, I feel like lately he hasn't even been going against like these wrestlers, man. He's been going against people who are going to go in there and strike with him, which is probably like playing to his benefit, sure. Whereas Charles has been going in there against multiple fighters, man. From the wrestlers recently with the Gamrot to the strikers. I feel like Charles just has more. He's been around the block a little bit more at 155. He's been around the block, you know. And Charles is a big dude. Charles looked huge against Gamrot. And I actually saw them face off today. They're about the same height. But Charles is a real 155er. Charles even was thinking about going to 170. People forget about this, by the way. He was thinking of going to 170 because something about he feels as if like he can't really cut the weight anymore. Every time Charles looks like he's going to cut weight, guys, he looks like he's about to die. Like, I'm not even trying. Like, he looks like he's on his deathbed. Against Ilya Taporia, by the way, he looked a lot bigger than Ilya. Was Ilya a little bit stronger, more compact? Sure. But that doesn't change the fact that I feel like Charles, in some instances, actually looks stronger. Now, I know you're going to point to the takedown attempt, guys. I rewatched that. It was all Charles' fault there. He just tried to drag. It looked like at first I thought he was like trying to throw. He was just trying to get Taporia to the ground, and he ended up getting on his back. It wasn't that Taporia like muscled him down and reversed him after watching that back. But even the way like Charles initiates clinches, guys. One thing I did notice about the Max Holloway Dustin fight is that Dustin only had moments when he was pressuring Max. When he started pushing Max back, Max looked a little bit more uncomfortable. You know, that's where you see Max the most uncomfortable, on his back foot. If you see Max at his best, chances are he's coming forward, throwing a lot of volume, and making you work off what he's doing. The thing about Charles is that he's always going to be on the front foot. He doesn't, and this is a bad thing for most people, but I think it's actually a great thing for Max Holloway. Charles not respecting power. It sounds stupid to say that, doesn't it? But Charles not respecting power and kind of always being on that front foot is going to be very problematic for Max Holloway, who I feel like is going to be ready for that on paper, but when it's in his face, he's going to start to wilt. Matter of fact, this might also be a hot take. I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed this. It seemed like Max Holloway was getting a little bit tired in the Dustin Poirier fight. I'm not saying going up to 155 took a hit to his cardio. I think his cardio is still good. It should be, you know, but I've noticed when Dustin was putting it on him, you see Max slow down. Max had a really good first round, but he started to slow down. Where I feel like 145 Max is known for his cardio, which is a little bit weird. You would think going up in weight helps your cardio. Of course, he didn't look bad against Dustin. He still had enough endurance to point down and fucking speed mog him. But the thing is, I think what gets Max tired, especially at these bigger weight classes, is these bigger guys landing these big low kicks, these big shots, and especially someone like Charles is not going to only just land on the feet, but he's going to mix in the grappling, and he's going to be really strong in the grappling. And grappling someone is so draining for both guys, but especially the guy who's not used to it. Guys, Max Holloway has not been used to a grappling technician like Charles Oliveira ever. You know, it's just the threat with Charles when he gets you down, because Charles is active, man. The way he sliced through Gamrot's guards and like got him into submissions, and the way he was lifting him up and throwing him, it's going to be a long night for Max, even when he's on his feet as well. Because not even on the ground, I know it's a long night. But what about the clinches that people aren't going to want to talk about? The clinch striking of Charles, those knees up the middle, they're draining. They drain energy. Max Holloway, I just think it's a really hard fight for Max Holloway to win. When I look at this fight, I'm like, what way can Max win? I know multiple ways Charles could win. I think Max has puncher's chance, but like I said, that goes back to like, because does Max really have that one punch power? We haven't seen Charles get one punch outside of Ilya. And is that abnormal? Not really. Like, we've seen him get rocked by Dustin Poirier, who people could argue hits harder than Max. You know, we've seen him get rocked a little bit by Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje, but all these guys kind of hit like trucks, and they're real 155ers. Not saying Max is a real 155er. I think he looks better at 155, but it's just that, like, who's he doing it against? You know, he's gonna have to go in there against someone like Charles, who's gonna be on that front foot. He's gonna be constantly using that grappling and striking. I just see it overwhelming the BMF, you know, because this is for the BMF belt. This is for the baddest motherfucker belt. Hey, Charles getting his belt back. Charles getting the belt back, just not the way we thought it was. And it's funny because both of these guys have more of a argument to be for that interim title fight. That's not even a hot take, by the way. Oh my god, I'm just thinking of what Paddy said in his presser. It just pissed me off. But these two are one of the best lightweights in the world, and unironically, Ilya beat them both. But outside of Arman, these are the two biggest threats to Ilya, which is a little bit weird. Because we already know Ilya's better than him. So Arman's literally the only one at 155 who could actually compete with him. I'm talking about Taporia is the only one who could compete with Arman. Like that's the only fight that's interesting because these two guys are probably the two best outside of those two people. So this is going to be an interesting fight. I am hyped for this, but I honestly looking at it from like a non-biased point of view because I love both of these fighters. I just don't see a way Charles can lose to Holloway at this point of his career. Now, Charles is aging, but he's showing that grown man strength coming through, you know. Grown man strength, like he looks a little bit stronger. Maybe he's handsome. He had brown hair in the press conference. He better dye that shit blonde and lock in. But I do want this to be a good fight and competitive fight. But ultimately, I might see Charles getting a finish on Holloway, who might fatigue and end up getting choked out, man. It's just like a lot more for Max Holloway to worry about in this fight than Charles. Like Charles doesn't have much to worry about, does he? Maybe outside of like getting hit too much, but I think Max is more of a volume striker than a power puncher. And I just feel like you're not gonna just beat Charles off of trying to, let me just throw enough to keep him away. You're not gonna keep him away. That's the truth of the matter. But nonetheless, I am gonna go Charles Oliveira for early pick. You know, my pick may change. I'll be real, probably won't change though. I'm very confident on this guy going in there and making Max like, Shibal, brother. This guy I can't compete with this guy, you know. So give me Charles Oliveira. Early prediction. I doubt it's going to change, but we have to see. But I actually want to point out this presser real quick and address something else because I saw something really stupid by this fucking scouser, yeah. This hillbilly motherfucker. Look what he just said, bro. First, I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna let it rock before I even say much about it. Just listen to this.
And it's gonna be unbelievable to get in there with him. And as he said, until Ilya comes back, this is the real belt. People call it a fake belt all they want, but until Ilya comes back into the octagon, this is the belt. Me and him are fighting for the lightweight championship.
First of all, guys, it's not about calling it a fake belt because this is the thing though. Like, I don't like, even Gaethje was doing this too. They're trying to play like dumb to it. They're like, yeah, dude, it's not a fake belt. It's not that it's a fake belt because of the interim belt. I wouldn't even mind you guys saying this. Is that you two don't deserve it, you know? Brother, you don't deserve, maybe take a step back, brother. I don't understand why come at me, brother, when I'm just saying truth to you, brother. It doesn't make sense for you to call this the real belt because you don't deserve it. This is not the best versus the best. This is number 5 versus number I don't know what number you guys are. You guys aren't even in the top 3. Y'all can't talk about this is the real belt. Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira, who were both on stage with you right there during that thing, they're better than you. Charles will beat you up to a pulp. Same with Max Holloway, you know. Max will really hurt you, Paddy Pimblett. And Justin Gaethje, I don't got to tell him. I know he already knows Max and Charles is better than him. So you guys aren't even the best on stage. So pipe down with this whole, like, you got called a fake belt. Sorrel to Ilya come back. No, it's fake because you don't deserve it. And your hairline looks like that, brother. You know, you look like Charmin Ultra Soft mascot, maybe, brother. Don't do this, brother. With your hairline look like this, brother. Don't be stupid, guy. Don't be stupid. Don't try to play dumb and try to make us look dumb for saying that's a fake belt. Fake belt because you don't deserve it because I said so. If you have a problem, you know, I'll give you address. You could come, you're a scouser, but I'll show you a thing or two. You fucking Shibal, yeah, baby, yeah. Woo, woo. Get him, Kenny. Listen, I'm done with this Paddy guy trying to come on the press conference, trying to act aura. And he was dick riding Justin Gaethje this whole press conference, by the way. I'm not going to call him anything. He's a lashing. Bro, Justin Gaethje, you know, the more I think about it, I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win. And I don't just think that for shits and giggles. But Justin Gaethje understands. I'm going to play this Justin Gaethje clip, guys, because he understands. He understands he has to save the day. Listen to what Justin Gaethje, I know he watches my channel. I know he watched my channel. Listen to what he said here.
And it definitely gives me the chance to fight Ilya. I want to fight Ilya. I want to play spoiler just like I did in Khabib and Tony. I'm going to fuck this up for everybody. and there's going to be no Paddy and Ilya. I'm going to do the same thing I did for that fight, and then I'm going to fight Ilya on the White House card if he's ready to fight again. We'll see when he's ready again.
You guys heard that like a little ass annoying voice in the back? Oh, Paddy the baddie. Like, listen, this guy sounds about 14, bro.
We'll see when he's ready again.
Y'all can't even hear it, but it's getting me angry, bro. Just like these annoying Paddy fans. If you guys watch the presser, you know what I mean. That one guy, oh, Paddy the baddie. Bro, it's 2025, about to be 2026. You're over here chanting Paddy the baddie. Justin Gaethje gets it. He understands he's our only hope. Without Gaethje, guys, you guys realize the UFC's going into a hole. The UFC already made a video on it, how they manufactured Paddy, make sure he had easy stylistic matchups, started giving him older men who are 39 like Tony Ferguson, 38 and 39 like Chandler, then Bobby Green is 38, and he gets wins over these guys, and they try to gaslight us like, oh, you're beating these crazy names because they're older. And then they just all that to give him a title shot. And while they're slowly moving him up rankings for not fighting, they manufacture this for Paddy 100%. Justin Gaethje gets it. He knows it too. He knows he has to play spoiler. It's his job to play spoiler, because if he doesn't, the UFC gets exactly what they try to do. And I don't want the UFC to succeed here. I don't want them to succeed here. No, brother. No dale, brother. No want. No me gusta. No, what language can I speak? No, comes on me that. I don't want the UFC to get this right. They can't get it right. They can't get it right. They must get it wrong, and we're gonna prey on the downfall of Paddy Pimblett. And if you're one of those people who want Paddy to win, you're just everything. You're the problem here, because you want the UFC's plans to work perfectly. You want everything to be roses and bubbles in the UFC octagon, man. You want, Dana White to be throwing, frolicking with flowers as Paddy walks down the aisle. Why do you want that, bro? And you're ugly like that. Look at your face, bro. I know you look at me right now and you understand this. Don't push for that. Don't be weird, guys. We want Paddy to lose no matter what happens. And if he wins, sure, book the Paddy versus Ilya. I wonder who's going to win that. Oh, you know what, bro? Let me just not even talk about this, because I think I'm rage baiting myself, because why am I getting annoyed right now? All right. Listen, push comes to shove. Let's go, Justin Gaethje. Push comes to shove. Charles Oliveira versus Max is going to be interesting, but I got my guy Max. Let me know what you guys thought about this pressure. Let me know what you guys think about the fight down below. That's it for me. God bless, my friend. God bless. 2, 3, 4.